Welcome everybody to the Pirate Skills meetup on June 3rd. Today we're going to talk about personalization as the new A/B testing. You can get all the information about this meetup and the slides at getpirateskills.com/personalization. So I'm super excited about this topic because it is a more advanced topic than usual, I would say. And therefore, I've split this up into 4 sections that will really make it approachable for the beginners, but then step it up towards the more advanced users. And at the end, as always, we will have time to answer your questions if you put them into Slido. So if you don't know me yet, I'm Ben, I'm the founder of Pirate Skills, and I'm a founder myself. I started 2008, couldn't stop doing startups since then. So 4 years ago, I started this meetup series, which turned now into this live stream series because of the current situation. And I quite like it. It's a lot less hassle for us, but the team really comes together every evening. We do a meetup. So thank you everybody in the team, Matthias, Ali, Christina, who has helped me to make this possible. They are also in the chat. So if you want to chat with them in the comments on YouTube, Facebook, or in Discord, they are there for you if you have any more organizational questions. So let's kick this off. So why your website reminds me of 50 First Dates. I don't know if you remember that movie, but it was the scenario that Adam Sandler met this beautiful woman in a bar, and he's talking to her, and the next day she completely forgot about him. And he was wondering, like, what's up with her? And but she was suffering from amnesia. And there is a very famous a patient called HM, his first name is Henry, that I studied during my psychology studies, that couldn't remember anything that happened 30 seconds ago. So in the movie, this guy is portrayed by Tom, and he's always saying like, "Hi, I'm Tom." And you tell him, "Hello, I'm Ben." And 30 seconds later, he's like, "Hi, I'm Tom. Hi, I'm Tom." And this would be super weird behavior in real life, but this is exactly how our websites are behaving. We do as if we completely forget that persons have been there already. We always show the same old stuff. This is my workshop landing page, yeah? And normally you would just see this landing page, which tells you marketing workshops, master the art and science of growth marketing. And let's take a look at this line, yeah? So now I did some personalization, and when somebody joins the website who has already went to a meetup before, you can now see that he sees, like the meetups, you will love the workshops. This is a sentence that would absolutely make 0 sense to somebody who doesn't even know what Pirate Skills is, or who didn't even go to the meetups. Maybe people don't even know what a meetup is. I always thought it was a super popular word, but I tell you, it is not. So this makes it more relevant, yeah, to the audience. And instead of showing the same old, you can personalize this experience. And today we want to show you how you can set this up for yourself, what kind of tools to use, and share some cool case studies on how personalization has actually increased revenue for businesses. So let's start with how a setup for optimization would look like. I think most of you guys have already Google Analytics installed. Google Analytics is a very common web analytics suite that helps us understand user behavior. And they started to create their own personalization software, which is freely available up to a certain service level. And so Google Optimize is very often a first choice for beginners, yeah? And it essentially is just a piece of JavaScript that you install very, very similar to how you installed Google Analytics. So if you have Google Analytics installed, which is very likely, then you already pretty much know the process of how to get going with Google Optimize. And it even tells you after you have installed it that everything is set up correctly, or the mistakes you need to correct. But what you want to see is this green arrow button after the installation. For more specifics on how to install, please just use a YouTube video or the Google Optimize explainers that will help you there. And what you are now able to do, now that you have installed in customer experience software, you can now, on your website here, you see that I installed it on pirateskills.com. I have got an A/B test running here, but now I want to create a new experience. And in this case, I don't want to create an A/B test. This is something we talked about the last time. I don't want to create a multivariate test, which is just a combination of multiple tests at the same time, but you need a lot of traffic for that. You can set up redirects, which simply help you to redirect a person who goes to one website and then send it to somewhere else. What we are going to do today is to look at this personalization feature and what it can do for you. So here you see that if you start the personalization, you can change anything on your website in a what you see is what you get editor style, which is called WYSIWYG. Yeah, most A/B testing software works like this. There are some more programmatic ones, but most of them give you some kind of editor, some better, some worse. I don't particularly like the one from Google Optimize because you can still break your page if you're not careful. But you can just tap in onto any field, like this field, and then you'll be able to edit it. Here on the right-hand side, you can see that you now can change the size, you can change the text, and let's change something. Yeah. So in this case, I changed this field to, do you like the meetups? Why don't you join? Then you love the workshops. Yeah. After we made this simple change, it is really just typing in there and changing the text. You don't have to code anything at this moment. The next decision you have to make is who is going to see that change, because personalization is all about the question of putting your visitors into certain buckets. Yeah, the typical example is gender. Let's say we know some people on our website are female, some are male, some we don't know anything about. First of all, we need to decide what happens to anybody if we don't know it. Yeah, what is the default experience? Then what is the experience for women? What is the experience for men? Like in a fashion store, the obvious solution would be to show women fashion products versus male fashion products. And if you don't know it, you still have to show a combination of women and male, which is less interesting to women. Yeah, it would be better for women to just see women fashion if they are shopping for themselves. Yeah. So what kind of behavior can we target? Let's zoom in here, and I'll show you with the example of Google Analytics what you can use to influence the behavior, yeah, to decide who's going to see it. Right now in this example, we are going to look at the behavior tab, and this gives us the option to differentiate between people who are new on your page and who have already been on your page in the past few days, few months. But you can see that you can also customize it based on ads, on UTM parameters. I'm going to show that in an upcoming section. You can differentiate between desktop and mobile and tablet users easily by location. I have an example for that. By browser technology, or let's say like the OS, the operating system on the phone, so that you show the correct link for Android users compared to iOS users. You can have a lot of fun. And at the end here, there are the more advanced things. You can add custom query parameters, put stuff from the data layer in there, and do custom JavaScript stuff. We're going to focus on this upper section today. But let's click on the behavior tab and see where this leads us. In this case, the example I showed you in the beginning, the same old, to the new version with the do you like the meetup version. Yeah. what did I do there? I decided that it would be good if somebody who has been the first time on this website that is longer than 1 day ago. So I know that person has been on the website not only today, but at least yesterday or longer. So I know that they are returning visitors. Yeah, I could also do it with just a couple of hours, but usually it's most people do it for a couple of days, the returning visitor selection. And now only the people who have been on my website before, at least 24 hours before, they will see, do you like the meetups? Then you will love the workshops. And there are all kinds of other criteria I can use to make it more specific, but it is as simple as that. Yeah, to be able to show new people other things than people who have already been on your website. So let's dig into an example. So again, let me show you how this worked now. If I'm a new user on our workshop page, you can try this live. This personalization is running as we speak. You will see master the art and science of growth marketing. But if you visit the website tomorrow, 24 hours later, you will see the like the meetups, and then you will love the workshops word. And you can, of course, do a much more elaborate change on your website than just one text. You could change the call to action button, the background images. You can introduce a pop-up, all kinds of stuff that might be interesting to you. So let's look at what kind of tools are going to help us to create this. I name all of those tools customer experience ones, but some are just very specific for A/B testing and some are more elaborate ones. Here we see a comparison that A/B Tasty did. A/B Tasty is a customer experience company from France, and they helped us sponsor this episode of the Pirate Skills Meetup. So they are helping us to do those live streams, and they also provided, thankfully, case studies with real numbers from companies that they have implemented personalization and customer experience optimization with. So thank you very much, A/B Tasty, for that. But here you can see that there are quite a lot of tools that are popular. So A/B Tasty is one, and I would suggest you ask questions about A/B Tasty, for example, in Discord, because I know that Beatrix is there, and she can answer questions about A/B Tasty quite well. And if you have very detailed technical questions, she will always be able to refer you to a competent colleague. Then we have competitors like Optimizely, VWO, as I showed today, Google Optimize from the USA, and Adobe Target. And there are many more, and you can check them out. But I thought that this comparison chart was actually quite helpful for me to see the differentiation points. So if, for example, it is important for you to have local customer support, then you're gonna definitely look at something like A/B Tasty compared to Google. But check that out for yourself. So let's look at a real case study that they provided. So let's say you want to increase the amount of people who subscribe to your newsletter. Then you could decide to create a pop-up on your website. But most of us hate those kind of pop-ups. So why don't we show this only to a specific group of people? So in this case, let's look at this pop-up. Yeah, it's here. We can see that we give them a choice. Do you want to subscribe? No or yes. And this gets them into a mood to compare. Do I want to go this way? Do I want to go that way? And that the idea behind that is that they are more likely to get into this mood of, do I want to dress? Do I want to get this dress? Do I want to get that dress? And it's not only about subscribing them to a newsletter, but also to influence their experience. And this specific pop-up has increased the subscriptions by 15% and the amount of people who actually accessed the checkout area, who went there, increased by 18%. And if they are coming back at some point and they said no, for example, or yes, they are not going to get bugged by this pop-up again. Yeah, and maybe another personalization is starting to take place. So I think this is a very interesting example, and we are going to keep on looking at real-world examples like this throughout the series. If you have any questions about this, then use the Slido, yeah, and or use the chat on Discord where Beatrix and the team can help. All right, so that wraps up the section about the 50 dates. 50 first dates. So your website does not have to behave stupid all the time. Yeah, you can really customize the experience with tools that are really simple to use today and that are definitely worth the time investment that you will have to do to get it going. But today it's really as simple as using Google Analytics. Yeah, so take that leap. Don't make your website behave like 50 first dates. Cool. So let's add your questions here on slido.com. Let's see if some new questions came in. I'm very interested in that. Let's stop the poll. So everybody's being sent to this question area. So we already have a couple of upvotes here, but this is by far not enough questions. So please go to slido.com, enter the code R, and you will be able to access this question area and ask your questions about A/B testing, personalizations, the tools, anything that will help you to get your growth marketing to the next level. Yeah, we can answer all of that at the end. And if in doubt, vote up the IMAC question. Please vote up the IMAC question. Yeah. All right, let's go back. Also, if you want to do us a favor, watch this on YouTube. Yeah, leave a comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would really help out a lot. Last time we got like 16 subscribers during this live stream, which for us at this moment is still a lot. We already got one question in. Are these services for free? I think all of them provide a free period. I think the most generous free package is with Google Optimize, and the rest you will have to check out in the details. So let's take on the next one. So great, you found a winner in your A/B test, but now what? Let's say you have a beautiful button test, and on the one hand you said learn more, on the other one you said buy now. Which do you think is going to win out of those? Let's make some assumptions here. Learn more doesn't sound so scary, so more people click, but maybe they don't expect somebody to buy something, so maybe less people buy, but more people had a chance to buy. On the other side, the buy now button is a bit scary and less people click, but those people who click are more committed. And at the end, you will see that one version makes you more revenue than the other. But it might not only be this simple A/B test. It might be that a certain portion of your users react way better to the learn more, and another portion of your users react better to the buy now button. What are you going to do now? Are you going to wait for your developer team to implement your change in a couple of weeks when it's in the pipeline? Or do you want to be able to just do that for yourself temporarily? That's what we are going to cover today. So let's look at this case study. This is a really interesting case that our sponsor A/B Tasty got us. In this case, they tested for a fashion store 8 different pictures, colors of dresses with blonde and brunette or darker haired models. And what they found out is that the blonde haired model worked 35% better in terms of the click-through rate, what people click in the shop, if they were wearing dark colored dresses. And if we put a more dark haired model into lighter colored dresses, the click-through rate went up 7.6%. This is also a great example of A/B testing and how you can personalize that experience to people. And maybe you can even find out what kind of hair color your user has based on their behavior, and then adjust the models and the dresses that can be shown there. So I think this is a case study that shows you that it is not always a simple A/B test, but a mixing of and matching of different versions that will then show you that for certain cases, this is true, for other cases, this is true. Usually you start with a very normal A/B test. Yeah, I just showed you in the video before the example with the WordPress, with the workshop landing page from Pirate Skills. And you think like, okay, what could we do better on this website? And you think, well, we definitely need a bigger, brilliant call to action that says, become your own growth marketer. Yeah, you can see this here. This is this huge call to action button that I changed. Before it was learn more. Learn more is pretty conservative. Become your own growth marketer is pretty bold, but it's also very wide. So it might be a problem on mobile. So I made the choice to just target people on desktop users to see this test. And let's assume this test runs really well. The new version now is like 20% better click-through rate. What do you do now? Do you wait for your developers to implement that change? Are you able to do this yourself? Lots of people, especially in bigger companies, don't have the ability to change the code on the website. But A/B testing and customer experience software gives you the ability to temporarily update that website until your dev team has done that. So how would we do this here? First of all, in your A/B test, you define a certain objective. Yeah, this is again, we look into the mostly free tool Google Optimize, and here you not only set up the test, you also have to connect it to Google Analytics, and hopefully you have some conversion goals set up. So in my case, a conversion goal is, the primary one is that people download the overview PDF for all the workshops. At the very bottom, there's this download PDF, and you can download it. And you can download something, and I want people to click that. And my button change, the only reason why I did that change is because I think more people will download the overview. I also have some secondary objectives, like people who schedule a call, who go to the thank you page. So I've set up my objectives properly. I let the test run for 1 to 2 weeks at least. I wait until I have enough sessions so I have a statistically significant result. But then I need to make a decision. Yeah, let's say this is the clear winner. Yeah, this gets a crown. Beautiful crown. Yeah, not that beautiful, but let's live with it. Now you can say, in the case of Google Optimize, that you want to end this experiment. Yeah, here on the right hand side, there are like 3 dots, you press on it. You can say end and deploy. And what Google Optimize will do for you at this point is to take that A/B test, and the A/B test usually has a specific end. You never intend to have 100% of people run on the A/B test forever. It automatically makes a personalization. Let me show you. It creates it, and now you can deploy this new version with a become your own growth marketer call to action to your website, and you can send specific events to Google Analytics, which really helps in the further analysis. And now your website is updated for all people where you decided that they should see it, and you don't have to do any coding for now. Yeah. And once your development team has caught up and they did the change. You can end this experiment, but you could already profit like the 2 to 3 weeks it often takes for an IT ticket to get through the system. I hope your IT is faster, but some are even way slower. You don't have to wait for that. Your customers can already experience the better version. And I think this is a huge advantage. So if you want to get into the details of this, it is easier if you can download the slides, and we got them on getpirateskills.com/personalization. And then you can go back in your own time and follow this process along. We will also have the videos uploaded here on that site by Friday. Yeah, and we usually segment those videos really nicely, like you can see here on the past meetup. And you will not only get access to this video series, yeah, that we're doing right now, but to all of the last ones of the past 2 years. So it has become like this treasure chest of growth marketing know-how. And again, if you have any questions, I would really love you to go to slido.com and answer more questions and ask more questions. Let's look into that. Oh yeah, there are some more questions. Oh, thank you. Now you got it. I love this. What's the best tutorial to learn A/B testing? Which framework for the website is best to do A/B testing? I love that. Thank you very much for entering so many more questions. After we went through the 4 segments, we will have time to answer every single one. And I really commend everybody who upvotes the "why didn't Ben get a new iMac" question yet. Yeah, it's the serious question. So, all right. So that wraps up the second segment about A/B testing and what are you going to do with the winner? Yeah, the answer is you turn it into a personalization that helps you to temporarily update your website without any code. Once your devs are finished, then you will end the test and wonderful. Yeah, you have done your visitors a favor. Another big part is special visitors that we want to treat specially. Let's go into the next segment. All right, so special visitors really deserve to get some special treatment on your website. Imagine your best clients come into your office and you ignore them, for now, and you let them wait, and you send your assistant first. You don't go out yourself. You don't give them your best offer, and they start to wonder, dude, why am I going to this person again? Should I take my revenue somewhere else maybe? That's again what we keep on doing on our website. We usually treat most people the same. We ignore that some people have already done much more commitment towards us than other people. And in this section, we're going to show you how to treat your special visitors specially. Let's look at this case study that was provided by our sponsor, AB Tasty. Here we have the goal to increase the number of transactions and basket conversions in an e-commerce scenario. Most of us here in Germany know the brand Decathlon, and in this case, the idea was to add a social proof widget. Let me show you. On people's website who have been here in the past 24 hours. So it's only to returning visitors. And what was the result of this video? So again, let's think about the change. The change is, let's have this widget or not. Yeah, it is an additional piece of information. It could be distracting, but it could also help the process. But we don't want to show to anybody. We want to just show it to the people who viewed the product page in the last 24 hours. So we think, oh, they are coming back. They keep on checking that out. I just noticed that I do this all the time. I was just buying a new keyboard and I saw that I went to the checkout page on Kickstarter like 5 times a day. And I think a social widget like this would have actually helped me. In this case, we see that 2% of total transactions were increased, 3% actually, by the returning visitors, and 1% clicked more on the add to cart, and 3% from the returning visitors. So in terms of returning visitors, this has a huge impact. Imagine a big store like Decathlon making 3% more revenue with one specific product or with the whole product line. Yeah, this can mean hundreds of thousands of euros. Yeah, in startup dimensions, those changes can be much bigger. Yeah, usually we see pickups like 5, 10, 15% improvements, but most big brand stores have been optimized to the edge already. And a change like 2%, 3% really makes a difference to the bottom line of the company. And is especially because it is something that you have to change once, and then the improvement stays there. Yeah, it is something that you think about and that you use your brain space for, and you found a better solution after 10 experiments, and now you suddenly make 2% more money. Yeah, it is fascinating to me. So how does this work? Another way to treat people specially is to give your local audience a little something extra. Yeah, let's see how we would do this. Again, imagine the Pirate Skills website, and now we want to do a little something for the people who are close by and who could actually come physical to this office. Yeah, and we want to invite them for a coffee or for a lunch maybe. How would we actually do this? But we do not invite everybody who is really far away, who would be disappointed in this offer. Oh, I wish I could take up the coffee, but I'm from Berlin, from Miami, from India. I can't ever make it to Cologne, yeah, in the next time to just drink a coffee. So we don't want to annoy people who this is not relevant for. In case of Google Optimize, we can go to one of our targeting options again, and this time we don't choose behavior. Instead, we choose geography. And this is where we can target people based on their city, their metro area, their region, their country. So let's see how this would work for Cologne. If I want to show a certain change only to people in Cologne, I just have to pick the town. Here you see the town, the city. I could also pick the country. I can say it should equal or not equal something. And then I could just pick Cologne. And as you can see, it immediately finds the correct one, Cologne, North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. So it is very simple. Yeah, you just have to be curious, look around, try some stuff, and most of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Let's look at a real case study again. This is an international shop, again with a case study by our sponsor AB Tasty. And here we have a French shop who would like to, a gift shop who would like to present a special gift that is made in the Bretagne. Yeah, only to the people who actually came from Brittany. Yeah, a visitor from Brittany is much more likely to buy a gift from a gift shop if it's also made from Brittany. At least that is the thinking behind it. And based on the IP location, we can now see that this only shows up if people actually come from Brittany. But if they come from a different part of the country, they could show the gifts from that part. And this would again increase the relevancy. And in terms of results, you can see that the clicks on the pop-ins were 6%. So 6% of the people now clicked. And after they clicked, 11% of those people actually did a transaction. Yeah, and then depending on your average e-commerce conversion rate, this can be a great improvement. Yeah, and I guess this has been one. So thank you very much again, AB Tasty, for providing those case studies in real world numbers. All right, so you have probably been watching this on YouTube, and if this has given you any value, do me a favor and like the video, leave a comment and subscribe. Again, last time we got like 16 subscribers. Let's see if we can get that a couple of subscribers more this time. Maybe we can crack the 300. I'm very optimistic today. So another place to engage with us is the Discord community. So if you have maybe tuned into this later or you watch this in a couple of days, go to getpirateskills.com/discord. This is like a community server where we can chat and nerd out about growth marketing, tools, techniques. You can show us your campaigns and we can give you help on how to improve them. So hope to see you on the Discord. All right, so that wraps up the third segment about special visitors and how to treat them specially. I hope this just gave you a few teasers that gets your brain started on how you can treat your people more specially and not just like any random guy joining you. Okay. The last segment of this meetup is stop spending money on ads to the same old landing pages. We take so much time to craft Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Ads campaigns, and they go into a well-crafted landing page, into an email marketing series funnel, and sometimes there's just not coming the good stuff out of that. So I want to show you today how you can use personalization to improve your landing page conversion rates so that you don't waste that much money on your landing pages. Again, the example from the Pirate Skills workshop page is going to help us. You can show either the same old, or to the people who come from a specific campaign, you can now customize the experience. Let's say somebody already went to the meetup and I sent them from a meetup email to the workshop page. Why don't I say, like the meetup, then you'll love the workshops. I know where they are coming from. I know they have already been to a meetup, they have subscribed to my email list, and thanks to our analytics software like Google Analytics, I can see exactly where this person has come from. And now I can customize the experience based on the source. Let's look into how this actually works. So here we now target by campaign parameter. This might sound a bit scary for beginners, but we discussed several times during the meetup how UTM parameters can really help us to track where people are from. Let's see how it's being used in Google Optimize for now. Let's zoom in. Again, if we use Google Ads, we have a direct connection to the accounts, but let's say we use Facebook or LinkedIn ads. Then we're absolutely free to add more to the URL. Let's say we send them to the workshop page and then we tell Google, in this case, that they came from a Facebook ads and that they came from the specific campaign. So let's tap on this UTM parameter so I can make it more real and relevant for you. Here, you can see that we are able to target people based on that they are from a certain email, from ads, from influencer campaigns. And all we need to do here is to set the UTM campaign parameter. And of course, yes, this goes a bit more towards the advanced people. But I think if a beginner spends a little bit of time and maybe Googles how do Google UTM parameters work, you will very quickly get a grasp around it. And it's such a key concept for tracking your user behavior that I think it's very worthwhile learning. So what did I do? You see this URL, https://pirateskills.com/workshop. That is the normal part of the URL, this part here. Nothing special about it. But now we start with a question mark. And this question mark tells the browser now, this is only additional information. And now I can, for example, say the source is meetup and the medium is demo and the campaign is awesome campaign on 2020, June the 3rd. Yeah. So I just add this to the URL in front of the UTM_campaign parameters. And now I'm able to show the change simply to the people who are coming from that specific campaign. Now, how is this useful in the real world? Let's say you start an influencer campaign and you invest a lot of money for that influencer to do a shout out. Why not show a special coupon code for the people who come from the visitor's site that takes the name of the influencer and maybe the percentage of the coupon code into account, which makes it so much more relevant for people and makes it even more interesting for the influencer to work with you. So let's look at that very example again in a case study provided by our sponsor AB Tasty. Here you can see, let me zoom in, that on this beauty store there is a specific code based on an influencer campaign. And this is only being shown to people who are coming from that specific influencer campaign. It could be a normal Google Ads campaign, LinkedIn, Facebook, an email campaign. It could be in your affiliate program. It could be your social media, anything. Now you can customize a banner like that at the top or at the bottom of your website and make it much more relevant. Yeah, and in this case, this increased the number of transactions by 1.5%. And this usually means 1.5% more revenue. Yeah, which can be absolutely huge because it's a change you have to do once and then it keeps on happening for that specific campaign. So thank you very much for providing those case studies. In case you're interested and want to ask more questions about AB Tasty, I know Beatrix is in the comments. You can ask anything and they provided this comparison chart on their website. You can just tap on the link below. If you have downloaded the slides, I linked it. And there you can see where AB Tasty might be a good fit, or maybe Google Analytics is a better fit. You make that decision for yourself. But if you have any questions about it, ask me, ask Beatrix in the comments. Yeah. We will also provide you contact data to Elef. Elef is a customer success manager at AB Tasty. You can call him or can send him an email. He's living here in Cologne, Germany, as far as I know, and he's absolutely open to ask any questions that you might have about it. And again, thanks AB Tasty for making this live stream possible. All right, so that's it. Again, if you watched it through the YouTubes, then hit the subscribe button and the like button, leave me a comment. I would really love that. And now we have time to get into the big Q&A section. At the beginning of the Q&A section, we usually do something that is a feedback round. And the feedback round works like this. I'm gonna start on Slido, a new section that is called Ideas. And normally we ask you to give us those feedbacks on a written piece of paper, which we put into this treasure chest. But this time we need to ask you through Slido. If you go to slido.com, enter the code R, you will see the question, how could we improve the meetup experience for you? Yeah, we would really love specific ideas, stuff that you liked, that you didn't like, that you wish that we would do more. And I promise you that every Friday after the meetup, we take a deep look into how we could improve the meetup experience and make it more relevant for you, because we know your time is valuable. And of course, we think that we want to improve. We are into mastery. We want to keep on improving. So let's look into the ideas that you have provided already. Cool. So we have 2 ideas so far. We need way more. Go to slido.com and put in the code R, and please add more ideas on how we can improve this thing. We will leave this open for a while, but some of you already voted up to do more of those voting and polls. This is an idea that we took up from the last one. And we heard the idea last time to let more viewers ask questions in real time with their face on the screen. I don't know if that is something you're into, but I would really love to hear if that is something that we should do and invest in. I think I need a new iMac for that. I have to work. All right, so keep on going through those. Keep on putting in your ideas. I would really appreciate like at least 10 valuable ideas on how we can do this better for you guys. So team, how are we doing? Is the stream up and running very nicely? Yeah. How do you guys like it so far? Write me in Discord or in the comments. So thank you very much for your feedback and your input. I will also now start the poll that asks you to recommend this meetup or not. How likely you are to recommend this meetup to a friend or colleague. So if you don't have any ideas, no problem, at least give us like a little score. Would you absolutely recommend it? This would be a 10 or a 1. No, I would never recommend this to a colleague. Yeah, and everything in between. So take your time and give us a little bit feedback on how we are doing here. That again, that helps us a lot to get in there. How are we doing in terms of live stream viewers? We have 19 people who are currently watching this. Oh, 32 people who are watching this on YouTube. So guys, no excuses. Go to slido.com and enter the code R, or just scan that QR code and start voting. Life shaming me. So, okay, Facebook looks good. We also have a couple of people watching there, but actually the majority is now on YouTube. I really like that. So if you're there, feel free to like and subscribe. Already 7 people have liked this this video. That is great. What about the other 32 people here? Yeah, would be really appreciate the little like icon. So thank you for the feedback. So we get everything from 7 to 10 combined with your ideas. That really helps us to get the questions going. So how can I switch to the question mode now, which is the key part of this section? Let's see if there are any more slides that I need to tell you about. Okay, so this is the last segment of the meetup about personalization, is the new A/B testing. And here we have time to now get into the questions that you have been asking through Slido and the comments, and that I hear from the everyday work with you guys in the coachings and in the workshops. If you're not live, join us next time and you can ask your questions at slido.com #R. We always set up the new question survey way ahead of the next event. So it is very likely that already the upcoming one is live here. So feel free to participate. So let's look into those wonderful questions of yours before we wrap up this meetup. So let's see, what have we got here? So this is the result that we see at the moment from the live poll. Thank you very much to the 12 people who voted on how they liked this meetup so far and if they would recommend it or not. So let's end this vote and take a look at the questions. All right, everybody should be seeing those questions. And I can finally get to talk about the most important question. Why didn't Ben get his new iMac yet? The problem is this: it is not June 22nd yet. So on June 22nd, I'm begging Apple to finally release a new iMac and a new design. And then I will get it. I promise you guys. Thank you very much for your support. But to the first real question. What is the best tutorial to learn A/B testing? All right, that is a good one. So I would highly recommend going to the content marketing sections of the big providers who are providing A/B testing software. So I know 3 good resources. There is the Google Academy, which helps you to understand Google Analytics and Google Optimize quite thoroughly. It's completely for free. All of those tutorials are usually for free because it helps people to onboard people. Then there is a good one on the content section on A/B Tasty, the sponsor of today's meetup. And there is another good one on HubSpot. I know HubSpot has a landing page tool with A/B testing in it, and they are really good at content marketing, so they will explain it to you. So those 3 ones are the first places I would look at for learning tutorials with A/B testing. Otherwise, if you are also into less structured content, just search YouTube. I learn most of the stuff that is not documented anywhere else through blogs and YouTube. Yeah, so just Google it and you will find a lot of solutions. But those content sections of those providers I mentioned, they are usually much more structured, and what I really like about that. So if you have any other suggestions about resources to learn A/B testing, please leave them in the comments in the Discord, and so everybody can check it out. If you have done a tutorial about it, feel free to plug your own tutorial. All right, so the next question is, how does A/B testing affect SEO? Yes, there are some impacts. So A/B testing has, for example, the disadvantage that the page speed is decreased a little bit, which can be a negative effect for SEO. This is why we usually not do a global A/B test, but we set A/B tests for a specific set of audiences, maybe a certain percentage of your visitors, and we do those on specific landing pages. But if you have a global A/B test, site speed can be something that is affecting that. I think that a lot of A/B testing suits also ignore robots. So robots will see usually the default version and not the personalized version. But this can be different from tool to tool. Yeah, so Google that question in the context of the tool you have chosen. May it be A/B Tasty, may it be Google Optimize, may it be Optimizely, whatever you have chosen, yeah, for yourself. Alrighty. I love the next one. Alrighty. If people block cookies, this will not work, right? That is correct. If people block cookies, everybody sees the default version. I would even go one step further. Oh, by the way, this is a question by Ron. Ron is the most prolific question asker so far in the Pirate Skills community. Thank you very much. So yes, you definitely are going to have to ask for consent in the future anyways. So with all of the GDPR and e-privacy stuff that is going on, the move towards asking for consent prior to doing any kind of marketing juju is going to be a requirement. So yes, of course, first of all, if people block cookies, this is not going to work, except if you build a custom solution that is not based on cookies. Yeah. Second thing, the personalization or the A/B test will not take effect until people have consented. And I'm very curious about answers from the community. First of all, do you think that A/B testing is required to be like in the marketing section, or is it just a statistics thing? Yeah, I think it is supposed to be in the marketing sections, but I think we would get a higher opt-in rate if it would be just in the statistics. Or could we even argue for any kind of essential plugins? Yeah, but I'm not confident on that at all. So if you have more insights into the legal side of cookie consent and A/B testing, aka personalization, please let us know in the comments. I even take resources and articles about it. I recently had that very issue with a client of mine, where the question was, do we have to wait for consent before we can do the A/B test? But don't the people then see the old version first and then the new version? Doesn't that look super stupid? Yes, it does look super stupid. And you have to make your entrepreneurial decision if you want to load that before consent or after. But there was another, in Germany at least, there was another ruling last week which again supports the hold on that we have to ask for consent before any marketing juju whatsoever. Yeah, so it is affected. Okay, next question. Does Google Optimize or the other platforms show me the new code so that I can implement it on my website on my own once the test is over? No, it does not. Of course, you can just look into the source code and you can copy paste it there, but you usually don't want to do this. The quality of what you see is what you get. Editor changes is not the best. Please check that out depending on the platform that you're using. But I would not, in my opinion, I would not copy paste code that has been done by Google Optimize, for example, into the live production version. I would want to have very nice and clean code there. All right, next question. Do I need kind of two websites for A/B testing, or is it just a simple change? What does the testing do with my Google rank? So I guess I understand the first part of the question, like, do you need two websites to do an A/B test? No, you don't. You can do, with most tools, you can do an A, B, C, D, E test on one single website, one URL. For me, I do a lot of testing on the pirateskills.com/workshops, and it's just this one URL, and I do a couple of tests on this page, and I do a couple of personalization on the same one. So you don't need multiple ones, but you're absolutely free to do that. If you think it's easier for you to, for example, test two very different layouts on two different landing pages, then you're free to do that, and you can use the redirect functionality that is available in most tools to see is version A or B better, the website A or B. So that's possible. And does it affect your rankings, your Google rank? I answered that in the first question. It does a little, but not much. All right, let me translate this German question. Where can I get inspiration for new tests? This is a good one. I do tend to look at good competitor websites to see what are they doing differently than what I'm doing. I go to growthhackers.com, which is a community where people share articles and case studies and growth studies about all kinds of changes people have done on websites. A lot of A/B testing tools have libraries of A/B tests. There's also a quick game where you can guess which version has been better, and you see if you're right or wrong, which is quite fun. If you Google like for A/B testing game, you will find it. And this is generally where I get ideas. Also the search result for what are good ways to improve my landing page is a good resource to find more and more articles about that. In general, in my own opinion, I try to really look at my website or app with a very new user set of eyes. I start from the very beginning. I look at the top left part of my website, and I think, like, do those elements really need to exist? If a new user or returning user would see this, is every menu item relevant? Is the image that I use in the background of a main header really contributing, or is it just slowing down my website? Is the value proposition on my website clear? And don't I have better ways of storytelling for specific audiences to communicate my value proposition on that specific landing page. And this is what actually gets me into real quality ideas. Whenever I think about storytelling and specific audience segments, how could I make this website in a way that certain people will really love it and other people will really hate it? Because then I know I'm not boring and bland. And now with personalization, I hopefully am able that the people who love that version see that version, and the people who don't love that version, they don't see it anymore. They see something else that they love. Yeah, hope that gives you some nice ideas here. Alrighty, the next question. Next question is, what are the best tools for A/B testing and personalization? We had a nice overview of A/B testing tools in the last video, if you missed that. And yes, our sponsor of today is definitely a good recommendation, A/B Tasty. Yeah, then we showed you a lot of examples from Google Optimize. Then there's VWO, there's Optimizely, there is Adobe Target. There are a lot of platforms for you to do this. If you're a beginner and in a very low budget, take a look at Google Optimize because it already works with your probably installed Google Analytics. If you need more support and somebody who helps you to get a really good onboarding into a tools, look at the more premium versions because they are really committed to help you get started and to get results. Hope that answers that question. All right, how many questions do we have? Fantastic, guys. Thank you for all those questions. Another good question is, how do you personalize based on gender? Let's simplify the gender discussions to 3 genders, male, female, unknown. Yeah. At any given point, your analytics suite has an opinion on your website's gender. It's either male, female, or unknown. Facebook, based on the self-reported gender, has a pretty good, a large segment of the people that the Facebook pixel is looking at. It knows the correct gender. Google Analytics maybe knows it from a smaller part of that audience, but you might have a whole database in the background. Let's say you have a big e-commerce store, you know the people who primarily buy female clothes identify more with the female gender, the people with the male clothes identify with the male gender. But some people you don't know it because they buy mixed stuff or they haven't bought anything before. And you can use those data sources to tell Google Optimize or another tool that you're using what gender is the probable one of the visitor that is looking at your page right now. And there are several ways to get that into your tool. So with Google Optimize, it's the data layer, or in general case is for all tools, if you put it, for example, in a Facebook campaign, you are very likely to know that you just target women. Yeah. If you press the please only target women between 25 and 44, you're pretty sure that this is correct. And you can add a parameter where you please don't write women 25 to 44 because that would already go into the personal identifiable information area and we want to avoid this. You just code this like F25. Yeah. And now your website sees that parameter, like you could call it G equals F25. And now your A/B testing software, no matter which you do, can pick up this parameter and know, they're coming from an ad that was targeted towards women and to men and to unknown, of course. Yeah, this is how you can easily differentiate between genders. All right, we got another one. Which framework for the website is the best for testing? Good one. So in frameworks, I'm going to deliberately not understand this as which tool, because we already answered that. With framework, I'm taking this question in terms of technical platform. What is the website built with? I can tell you that I have much less problems with server-side rendered websites, like PHP websites, for example, a WordPress website, a Wix, a Squarespace. They are generally pretty easy in working with A/B testing and personalization. Where it gets more difficult are single-page applications that are, for example, based on Angular or React. It is still absolutely doable, but you have to have much higher technical knowledge in order to pull it off. Because it's not always clear on which page the user is, because they're all always on the same URL, except if the developers implemented a router. So the classic static server-side rendered web pages, like the WordPress pages of this world, they make it very easy for you to A/B test. Cool. The next question is, can you implement the personalization in a website that is built in CMS, in a customer management software? Let me interpret that question as, how can I access my CMS data? No, it's a content management system, not the CRM. Okay, let me rephrase my question. Can you implement the personalization in a website that is built in a CMS? Absolutely. Most content management software like WordPress, Wix are easily adaptable to personalizations. Where you want to be careful is when this software, for example, HubSpot, already supports A/B testing. And you want to be sure that there is not an A/B test running on HubSpot and on the tool of your choice at the same time. It could be confusing for the software. So the quick answer is yes. All right, the next question is, do you also include your CRM info, the active campaign tag, for personalization, or rather stay in one system, like Optimize or A/B Tasty? From Marcel. Let me process this. Or rather stay in the system. So if I have access to the CRM information on my website, I am absolutely keen on using that data on my A/B tests, or on my personalizations. Let's say I use ActiveCampaign, for example, and I have the information for the people who bought a ticket, which meetups they went to. And I also have the information whether or not they downloaded the slides for the meetup. So a sneaky thing I could do would be to show anybody who's returning to the website who went to a meetup but didn't download the slides a nice pop-up to, you forgot to download the slides for this meetup, do you want to get it now? So that would be helpful to the user, and it would probably increase the engagement and the perceived value of that user. So I tried to get as much information as possible, but the question is, how is that information transferred from the CRM to the website so that it's available to you? And there are a couple of ways to do it. The easiest time to transfer data, if you send out email campaigns. If you have an ActiveCampaign, your MailChimp, you have all the user data, and you can add parameters to the links that a user is sending. And you can, for example, you could theoretically add a name, add a gender, add a title, a tag, a website they visited, a lead score, something like that, to the link that they clicked. And now on your website, you have this information available in the query parameters. You just have to be sure that you stay in the bounds of what is allowed with personal data processing. And then you should be good. Hope that answers your question. Alrighty. Next one, A/B testing under GDPR. As far as I know, the user needs to consent. In some cases, this might be too late e.g. a new user arriving on a landing page test and landing page has already loaded. So we talked about that a little bit already before, but I think this is a very critical moment in time where we need to find out on what the actual best practice is. I still remember when I did the GDPR meetup in June last year, it was a complete disaster. There were like 9 people showing up here at Startplatz when usually we have 50. And there was the first time I actually talked about a concept called consent optimization. Yeah, you can imagine what it means. We're not only doing conversion rate optimization on your website, we now have to think about how can we optimize the process that we get a large number of people, let's say 80-90% of people, to opt in to accept our marketing cookies, yeah, but still give them the free choice to also deny that, but to make it likely that they will convert. So this is what I call consent optimization. Of course, as always, within the bounds of what is allowed with GDPR, but not all decisions have already been made there. So what would I say is the best practice in this case? At the moment, I would say do 2 things. First of all, wait for the consent of your user before you load Google Optimize, for example. And if we have new and different information about that in the comments, please let me know. But I would wait with the consent for your A/B testing software, because if people deny, they just see the default version and nothing flickers, all is good. If they say yes, yeah, you have the problem that they have already seen the old version and they now see the new version, and this sucks. So what could you do? In my case, I prefer to do middle of the screen consent box that also blacks out a little bit the viewport of the user, yeah, so that people have a very centralized focus on making that consent decision. Now if they say yes, I give it a short wait before I let it animate out, and the A/B test is usually loaded in the background properly, yeah, before the user sees the original version. So you essentially have to hide your website behind the consent. One caveat, I'm not 100% sure how long it's going to be allowed that we have those centralized, everything blocked out cookie consent boxes. Yeah, so please stay in touch with the legal decision making on that part. But that is my current best practice on how I do it. I wait for consent, but I use a cookie that is central with a black darkening screen around it. You can check this out on the workshop page from Pirate Skills. Please, team, put the link to the workshop landing page in the comments and on Discord so people can check this out. I use WordPress and the Borlabs cookie plugin to realize this. So check it out. It's completely set up with Google Optimize there. Did you get that, Christina? We need the link from the WordPress landing page, please, in the comments and in the Discord. Thank you. All right, 3 more questions. What is your favorite tool from A/B Tasty and Google Optimize? By far, it is the ability, which is possible on both tools, to personalize based on the campaign. Yeah, that I know that people are coming from specific email and ad campaigns. This improves my conversion rates on my most important landing pages where I spend the most money by far. Yeah, so that's my favorite. Okay, second to last questions. Statistical relevance and correlation setup tests under GDPR. For example, landing page test, but users opt out after 3 pages, still counted in test sessions, but has not seen the actual test. I would say this is a very edgy case because people usually do not opt out after 3 pages. I would say that 99% of people made the decision on page 1, which is where you are supposed to show the GDPR consent. So it should be flushed under the lots of other visitors, even if you have that case. Yeah, if it's actually happening. Yeah, it should be not relevant in terms of statistical significance here. Okay, the last question of the night. We need more characters for the questions. I'm sorry for the bad expression. Try to stay within the limit. I think that was meant for the last one. So thank you guys for answering all of those questions, for asking all of those questions. Keep on joining the upcoming meetups. The next meetup we have is going to be a really fun one. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about leveling up your own growth marketing stack to 2020 level. So what is a growth marketing stack? Let's say you have a WordPress landing page with Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel. You have a CRM in the background, like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or HubSpot. You have a customer experience tool like our sponsor AB Tasty, like Google Optimize, and all that stuff. That is called those tools that you're using. That is your growth marketing stack. And I want to share with you my best practice stack for a very low budget and like for a medium budget. Yeah, if you're into that. So if you like that, go to getpirateskits.com/techstack and register for free now. Get your Eventbrite tickets so we can send you an invitation. Yeah, so you get the live stream link and everything as usual. If you want to go deeper here, feel free to check out the very often mentioned landing page under growth.pirateskits.com or just pirateskits.com/workshops. It's the same. And you can check out how we teach people to become their own growth marketers. Would love to see you in one of our workshops. All right. That is it for today. I thank you all for joining and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.